some scary movie.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes. We'll tear your soul apart.
Hello and welcome to All Things Horror, the podcast that reviews horror movies both old and new. I'm Ben and I'm joined here with Matt, and we're going to have a brief spoiler-free chat about today's movie, and then we're going to go into the plot with a bit more detail after that. Then, as always, we'll finish off with our personal ratings. So the movie today is The Evil Dead 2 from, I believe, 1987. Written and directed by Sam Raimi, and of course, starring the one and only Bruce Campbell. Yeah, first off, I think last episode when we announced that we were going to be doing this one, you weren't 100% sure if you'd actually seen this one or not. So was this your first view? Or
I have seen it before. But I just, for whatever reason, I hadn't remembered much about it. Probably best me saying to start with, like, I am not like the world's most like diehard Evil Dead fan. Not that I dislike them, any of them. I think it's more I appreciate them more than love them. Like I appreciate the clever filmmaking, particularly the low budget element side of it, the creativity, the sort of the fun cartoon aspect of some of them. Like kind of over the top sort of elements, but I would say I more appreciate than love. So I'm probably going to get, well, I don't know, probably going to get kicked out of the horror fan club because I just, it's not like, oh my, like I'm dead excited about watching an Evil Dead film. So I had seen it. I just couldn't remember much about it. I was thinking of Army of the Dead that I hadn't seen.
Oh, right. Army of Darkness.
Yeah. Army of Darkness. Sorry, Army of the Dead. I'm thinking of a completely different film. Yes, Army of Darkness, yeah.
It is very easy to like confuse it with the first one because it's literally, well, I don't know. Like, it's a bit of a funny one because it's not really a remake. It's not a sequel. I've heard people call it a requel. I don't know the story behind it, but I don't know if like Sam Raimi wanted like another crack with a bigger budget, or I'm not quite sure what happens because the first 20 odd minutes of the film, maybe not even that. It's like it's literally the first film, just fast forwarded so they can get to like the rest of it. I feel like the whole film is like one big setup for the next film.
I think you're right. I think it's like, what would you do if you were to make this film and you had more money? So yeah, I definitely get that. And so it looks a little bit more like a film, you know, like a movie film, rather than like a really creative use of everything you've got around you to make a film. This one's like, oh, you've actually got some stuff to work with here that we'll pay for, like the production company will pay for rather than yourself.
Yeah, and it's interesting actually because something a lot of people don't know, and I didn't even know this, but a lot of thanks for this film goes to Stephen King because like Sam Raimi, like he couldn't get enough money to fund this film. So Stephen King, he was a massive fan of the first film, The Evil Dead. So it was actually Stephen King that convinced his financiers to give Raimi the money for this film because I think at the time he might have been working on is it Maximum Overdrive? So as he was working on that one, he actually convinced his like financiers or whoever it is
Yeah,
to
it was.
actually give Raimi money to fund it.
Yeah, it was Dino De Laurentiis, and who was kind of known for sort of wildly overspending, and the De Laurentiis company in the end, what was left of their assets was bought. Some of that was bought by Charles Band, and kind of he started making films over in the De Laurentiis studios in Italy. So like Terrorvision and a few other of films were made over there, but De Laurentiis was not like shy at splashing the cash. So yeah, Maximum Overdrive being a good example of that. Literally maximum overspend. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do this one. I do like this one. It is easy to confuse the films, but I feel like this one it does thicken up the storyline more, especially with the whole like backstory of Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead. Like it really leans deep into the origins for it, and I feel like it really sets up for the Army of Darkness. Whereas the first film, you know, it was like, yeah, it said the name is Necronomicon Ex Mortis, Book of the Dead, but it didn't really explain much more than that. It's just, you know, if you
because the first one's like set pieces around that, isn't it? It's like kind of more stuff happening than telling you about stuff. And in a way, that's kind of the charm of the first one, isn't it? Like it's like a film, like a film school project, but just like the best film school project you've ever seen. It's like a bit like how John Carpenter did like Dark Star and got all people involved who were you know, turned out to be incredibly creative people and went on to have great careers. It's a bit like that with the first Evil Dead. This is one I do think. One thing I will say about the whole Evil Dead thing is, unlike a lot of them where they try and tell you, oh, this is where it's all going to go and this is our plan and da da da, it does seem a bit like for other franchise films. For this, it does feel like he just kind of goes wherever he feels like, even if it means completely changing the background or the ideas, or it just feels like he was just full of loads of ideas and just throwing them all at the screen. And I guess that's what being young and making films and being a really, you know, is all about. It's like songwriters, you know, they think they're going to be able to write 100 songs a day or something forever, and then they run out of songs. And it's like, I feel like this is sort of peak Sam Raimi having loads of ideas, and that's really cool. It's great that he's been able to do that.
I wanted to let's talk about Ash for just a second, because Ash he's a really unique kind of character in terms of horror icons, because obviously he's not a villain, so you can't really place him with like Freddy, Jason, Michael. He's essentially a final guy, which is also unique because you don't really get many final guys, you know, and it's normally the final girl. But his persona as well, like from the first to the second, is quite drastic. The original, he was kind of quiet, shy, typical normal dude. Whereas in here, he's a lot more, I don't know,
Like
louder, joke cracking. He's got these one-liners, and he's got a fucking chainsaw for a hand. He's just and the comedy in it, just like completely. I know the first one had its comedy moments, but this one, I feel like everything is just amped up. It's like,
it's
what
bigger,
can we
isn't
do?
it? It's like a big everything in it is very big. It's I was going to ask you that, like, you know, how much does he change throughout the franchise? The whole franchise is built around this mythos of Ash, and then you've also got like My Name is Bruce, where a friend of mine, it's one of his favorite films. He absolutely loves My Name is Bruce, and like, and then the TV series as well. Like Ash has become like synonymous with the franchise. Obviously, there was the new one, which didn't have anything to do with these characters, but
Yeah.
is it
Yeah, I was
even
meant
an
to
Evil
write
Dead film
down.
without Ash?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. How many have they done? Because I know they did a straight up remake after this one, which actually weren't that bad. I thought it was pretty good as far as remakes go. Or is it a reboot? Oh, I can never remember. But then, yeah, obviously they did that one not too long ago with what's her name? The Australian woman. She was at HorrorCon not too long ago. That didn't feel to me like an Evil Dead film. Like it started in the cabin, but the whole rest of the film was like in an apartment, and
That's the
it
best
lost
bit,
it
the
a little
cabin
bit.
bit.
Yeah,
The beginning
yeah,
and the end. I like the beginning and the end of it.
yeah, yeah. I hear they are making another one though.
Right.
Is it Evil Dead
Bruce
Rise? Or
Campbell
was
does
that the last one?
Yeah, Evil Dead. Yeah, that was because no, that was the last one. I'm not sure the next one, but I do know that like Bruce Campbell was like a voice, like a sort of a voice in that one, but that was all that he had to do with it. I don't know much about Lee Cronin, who made it. I imagine if it was going to be made, then Sam Raimi must have given it his seal of approval.
Okay, I've got it here. The next one in the franchise is going to be called Evil Dead Burn, and that's scheduled to release in theaters on July 24th, 2026.
Well, the guy who's making it, who made that one anyway, the last one, is also doing a remake of The Mummy. So we'll see how that goes first, because that's a good way of ending your career, I think, if you're not careful. Or certainly ending a franchise, or like the Universal Monsters reboot with The Mummy with Tom Cruise that didn't quite go anywhere. So yeah, it'd be interesting. The weird thing is, I'm not a massive fan of this franchise, and I don't know a lot about it. Is that I absolutely love the film, and I saw it at the cinema, Bubba Hotep with Bruce Campbell. So I actually think more of Bruce Campbell. I'm like one of the few people who absolutely loves him in that, as playing sort of the ghost of Elvis or Elvis, depending on how you want to look at it. Which was such a great film. Love Bubba Hotep, in the same sort of feel as this, really, like silliness.
I feel like Campbell, he just has his own vibe now. So most films he's in, it's just him. He's playing Bruce
and I
Campbell.
guess that's why they went with doing that in like things like My Name Is Bruce, and I think in the Evil Dead series, kind of leaning into that idea that he's got this sort of persona and character that really is a big Bruce Campbell caricature, and it's just like, well, just lean into it, have fun with it.
yeah.
The series is literally called Ash comes before Evil Dead, in it, doesn't it? Ash versus Evil Dead.
Ash versus the Evil Dead. Yeah. I think, didn't they make comics as well of Evil Dead comic?
So, yeah.
I'd
be surprised.
I know that because I think I remember seeing some video on YouTube where someone asked Bruce Campbell at a convention about a comic that was done. I think it was like something like Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. And he was
I think there was
a remake.
Yeah, you're right. It was in the conversation, definitely, when they were doing Freddy versus Jason. I think that there was concept art drawn up with Ash in there. I think, that would have been a bit wild. I mean, depending on what you think of that film, it would have been all right, I think.
I actually quite like the film.
Yeah.
Freddy vs. Jason. I don't know how it would have been.
I didn't mind it.
But...
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It was one of those, like, you can't really win with that, or I guess you can't. I don't know. I was going to say you can't lose. Can't lose in the sense, so people will want to watch it, but once they go and watch it, they'll start saying, "Oh, you should have done it like this. You should have done it like that."
Yeah.
So
cool. All right. Shall I hit a spoiler warning and we'll go through this plot?
Sure.
Spoiler warning.
All right. So the first 10, 15 minutes of this movie is essentially a brief kind of like run through of the first one, which is along the lines of Ash and Linda. They go to an abandoned cabin in the woods. They play a tape that recites the passages from the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, aka the Book of the Dead. And that unleashes the evil that possesses Linda, and Ash ends up decapitating her with a shovel. And then when she rises from her grave and her deadite head bites his hand, so he runs to the tool shed and destroys her with a chainsaw, but his bitten hand becomes possessed and tries to kill him. So he
That's
cuts
the
off
best bit
his
for
own
me.
hand. He cuts off his hand with a chainsaw, and then it starts running around and swearing at him. So he's just blasting holes with a shotgun just everywhere.
It makes me think. I wonder if Idle Hands just watched that little bit of that scene and were like, "What if we made a whole movie of this?"
Oh god. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Bruce Campbell, his acting is like, it's just incredible. Like, it's one thing to do a scene all by yourself, but he's literally fighting his own hands, like throwing himself around, smashing things over
Yeah,
his head. It's wild.
commitment.
I think that scene in the kitchen where he grabs his hand and he does like a front flip, like that whole scene, like it was all improvised. So that Sam Raimi just used
Wow.
the first clip, the first take. He was like, "Yep, okay,
Amazing.
done."
I wonder if they
he's
filmed lots of others and then he just went with the first one and he's like beating himself up for nothing.
I can imagine Sam Raimi doing it. It's like, "Yep, do it again, do it again, do it again."
Yeah.
Actually, the first one was pretty good. Yeah, I think from what I read as well, that old tape recorder, that was like one of the few like holdovers from the original film, because it wasn't in the same cabin or anything. Like it was completely filmed in a different location, and because I think the cabin actually like collapsed or burnt down or something, so it's not there anymore from the first one. So everything
Right.
was brand new for the second one, except for that tape recorder. That's the only thing from the actual original film.
Ah,
Yeah.
right. Oh wow. It's funny, isn't it? Because it's so wild right from the beginning. The talking of Necronomicon, and you think about Lovecraft and how Lovecraft's books are wild and wonderful, but take themselves pretty seriously. There's not much funny stuff in there yet. The two best known things that include his stuff are like Reanimator and this, and this franchise, and like they're really silly. Like they're both really silly and lots of comedy in it. It's interesting to take some source material and then go, oh, let's make it really over the top and campy and silly. I wonder what Lovecraft would have made of that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Yeah.
I only just
Yeah,
thought
that would
about
be
it now because I was just like, oh wow, like people love this probably as much as I love Reanimator. Yeah, like
yeah.
I know people who really take everything that Lovecraft did very very seriously, and the mythos of him and all of the stuff that he wrote, because he was quite an intense person, quite a controversial person as well. But like the people that he's influenced have just gone, well, let's make it really silly. Let's go really over the top. Like, look how Bruce Campbell plays this, and look how like Jeffrey Combs plays it in Reanimator. Very similar, and people absolutely love it.
Yeah, you're right. There is a lot of similarities between those two films.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should do Reanimator versus Ash.
Can you imagine if they injected Ash and he was reanimated? Like how Bruce Campbell would play that? That would be amazing.
I think you'd do a good job.
I do. I think he wouldn't need a lot of special effects. He'd just throw himself around.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, so yeah, whilst all that madness is going on, Nobi's daughter, I think Nobi was the guy that wrote the Book of the Dead or something. His daughter Annie returns with some. Pepper, can you sit down? Fidgety bum. Yeah, she returns with some other people. I think it's her boyfriend and a couple of random people. Anyway, they return to the cabin with the missing pages from the Necronomicon, and they think Ash is crazy because obviously he's just shotgunning the hell out of that cabin, just blasting holes everywhere. So they grab him and lock him in the cellar. But after they play the rest of the tape, it awakens Nobi's wife, who just happens to be buried in the cellar. So once Ash gets out, we get the great scene of him strapping this chainsaw onto his stump and then like loading himself up with his sawn off shotgun ready to go to hell.
That's his and a million
yeah.
action figures were made.
Yeah, I've got quite a few. I've got a couple from they're up there. I'm not getting them, but I've got like little ones of Ash versus Evil Ash, and I think I got in the loft. I got the really tall 18-inch ones as well from the second one,
Oh, wow.
Ash versus Evil Ash from the Army of Darkness, or if you like to call it the Army of the Dead.
Army
Deadness.
of Dead, yeah, Deadites.
I think that is a film, though, isn't it? Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead is, yeah. It's I think it's spin-off the Zack Snyder thing.
Yes,
like basic,
right,
kind of a rip off of or in the same universe of his versions of Dawn of the Dead.
I wanted to say, like, in this bit with the chainsaw, it's like, because we speak quite a lot about like practical effects and how some things that were done with like next to no budget with simple household items actually tend to work even better than a lot of like really high end stuff. So I found out that the smoke that comes out of the chainsaw is actually just cigarette smoke. And Sam Raimi, like he rigged up a tubing to go to the back end of the chainsaw where he's hidden off camera, and he's literally just blowing cigarette smoke through this tube that's coming out of the chainsaw.
I mean, even if you've got money, you can doesn't stop creativity. I was just thinking that you've got like Robert Kurtzman and Greg Nicotero. They're probably going to do great stuff if you give them money, and they're probably going to do great stuff if you don't. So you're on a winner, really, particularly if you want particularly if you want practical effects. So like, go away and make something. Or if you're somebody like Sam Raimi, who's more hands-on because he's had to be making his own shooting his own films and doing his own thing, he's probably going, well, I'll just do that. You know, like it'd be easier if I do it.
Yeah. I'd love to see like some kind of like behind the scenes of him just out of shot, just chuffing on cigarettes, just blowing it into this chainsaw.
It reminds me of like people using tubes of blood and blowing them in, like when we did some of the Friday the 13th stuff, and like Tom Savini like blowing blood up through people and through little tubes and stuff, or lying underneath them and things.
Well, that's it. Sometimes the most simple, easiest, cheapest things actually end up working amazingly well.
Yeah. I mean, the point of view stuff where it's like kind of you're looking at his face and he's flying through. Like, I'd imagine just you could probably do. Well, you've only got to look at the first film. That I'd imagine the way that they did it in the first film and the second one are probably very similar, but they just look so cool.
Yeah,
you don't see a lot of this stuff in any other films, which is quite a compliment, really.
Yeah. Saying that, I mean, this film, I know it had a bigger budget. Well, I know the first film had almost next to no budget, but this was only 3.5 mil.
Yeah, and I was surprised
Which,
that it only just
yeah,
made a profit as well. Like people
I know.
weren't
Yeah.
going out. They weren't going out like and queuing up at the cinema to watch it. So it kind of makes
Mm.
sense that they struggled to get funding for it, because it wasn't like there were loads of people absolutely banging down doors trying to get trying to get tickets or trying to make like, so we need to see an Evil Dead 2. People probably didn't even realize or think about it that much unless they were like a diehard fan of it.
Yeah. So now we're getting to like the back end of this film. So whilst Ash is he's going to town killing the Deadites, and he starts reciting the incantation, and as she finishes that, Ash's severed hand makes another appearance and stabs her in the back. And then a portal opens up and sucks this the demon and Ash and his car, sending them crashing into like the Middle Ages. And then a group of knights initially mistake him for a Deadite, but then he hops up and blasts an actual Deadite with his shotgun, and they hail him as their champion, realizing that he is the hero prophesied in the book. Roll on the Army of Darkness.
Yeah,
which literally follows directly on.
I'll have to watch now. Yeah, I'll definitely have to watch it.
Yeah, you have to. It's fun. It's just
I have
fun.
I have a feeling it might be my favorite. It might end up being my favorite one, and I don't know why. Maybe because I always like the third one and stuff like Halloween 3, Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Having said that, the fourth Friday the 13th is my favorite. So.
True. Yeah. All right. So, talking about which one's your favorite, ratings for this film. So looking back, I rated the first Evil Dead 8 out of 10, and this makes it tricky because I love both of them in like different ways. Like I respect everything that went into the original and what was created on like next to a no budget, and this one just kind of takes it on almost a completely different spin with all like the big blatant humor, the more deepened backstory behind the Necronomicon. So it's hard to pick a favorite. So I'm gonna go with a straight up tie. I like them just equally. So I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10 as well.
Okay, cool. I was going to ask you that. Yeah, I was going to say like, how does it compare? Even though in a way, like you say, it doesn't really compare because they're different, very similar, but also very different. Because he could have gone a complete cropper and ended up throwing so much money at it that it doesn't resemble anything as quirky or as interesting as what people liked with the first one and lose his core audience. So it's a big risk. It's a bit like, I guess you can look at Spider-Man 3. Looking back at Spider-Man 3 now, that is a wild shit show of a film. Like it's somebody just throwing everything at the screen because they don't have a clue what to do because they only really wanted to make 2. I get the feeling. So it's like, no, but the second one did really well. You need to make another one. Oh, okay. So yeah, I think well, he did a good job in not alienating the fans with the second one.
Yeah. Well, it could have been completely different if they hadn't done the first like 10-15 minutes. If they'd have just done it, Ash returns to the cabin after everything with this new girl. But no, instead they wanted to almost start fresh and be like, this is everything that's happened, and here we are now.
Yeah, if you pretended that the first one hadn't happened and just did it again but better, I think people would just be like, nah, I'm okay, thanks. I prefer the first one.
Yeah. So what would you give it out of 10?
Well, I can't remember what I gave the first one. I imagine I gave it around a 7.
Let me have a look. I've got them all here. Where was that? So Evil Dead was episode 23. Right. Wow. We're on like 67 now. So yeah, episode 23, The Evil Dead. I gave it 8, and you gave it 7.
Ah, I remembered. Wow. So this one, I'm going to give it 6.5.
6.5.
And I was going to say 6. I'm going to give it 6.5 because I do appreciate it. I think the first one, I just admire it more because it was done on such a shoestring. This one might be more fun than the first one, I think. But the first one's more inspiring as somebody who fancies themselves as like a creative person. I can imagine anybody who has a creative leaning in anything watches that first one and it makes them feel that they could do something. Like it kind of inspires them. So I guess that's why I want that one to have a little bit of a higher score. Whereas this one, I think this one might have more funny and fun bits in it, particularly once we get to the fighting against their own hand. And because I really like that. I haven't seen it for years, but I feel like I want to watch Idle Hands again because I just like that idea of fighting against your own body. And I guess that's in Reanimator too. Reanimator, TOO, and Reanimator, the second one. But yeah, there's lots of fun body stuff in this that I enjoy, and as you know, I like that kind of thing in Reanimator and Basket Case, and yeah, it's good from that point of view. So 6.5 from me.
Okay, cool. I was very, very close to giving this like under half, like, but I couldn't, like, I had to.
Yeah, I've only just gone.
I couldn't pick which
Well,
one I like the most. I like it. Yeah.
I've only just started giving half marks the last year, so.
Cool. All right. Well, that was a good fun episode. It's funny because you mentioned Basket Case just a minute ago, and I think we already decided at the end of last episode that the next one was going to be Basket Case 2, which I have not seen. You introduced me to Basket Case, the first one, and I actually really liked it. So I am very intrigued to see Basket Case 2, to see where that goes.
Well, in a way, it's similar to us watching Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 because you can really admire the low budgetness of the first Basket Case. And I'm not saying that they got a lot of money to make 2 or 3, but one thing I like about most of the films that kind of the sequels I like of things is they get bigger and sillier. So that's the only thing I'm going to say about Basket Case 2 is like bigger and sillier. Not as sleazy as the first one, but definitely daft and over the top. So yeah, I'm really hoping you like it. I'll be interested if you don't, if you kind of think, oh well, this isn't the same thing that I got from the first one. But for those of people who want to watch it themselves, it is included with Prime as well. Unlike a lot of the films we watch where you have to have the DVD or seek it out or buy it, it is included with Prime if anyone has Prime at the moment. So yeah, we get to watch 1990s Basket Case 2.
Oh, 1990s. Oh, okay. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we're into the 90s now. 90s. Well, that's why I said, because I was like, well, Basket Case is 1982. So a lot has happened in the world in those 8 years. Not that you'd know from Basket Case, but
what did it actually come out in 1990, or is it 1990?
Yeah,
in the 90s.
It came out in 1990, and then Basket Case 3 was only 2 years later. It was released in 1992. So yeah, 1990 and 1992 for Basket Case 3. So really looking forward to diving into 2. Maybe you'll want to watch 3. Maybe you won't want to watch 3. Maybe 2 will be enough.
We'll see where it goes. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean that's all I've really got for this episode. Unless you got anything else you want to throw on?
No, not really. Just it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm really looking forward to us talking about more Belial antics. I've got you can't quite see because of the light coming in, but I've got my Spanish Basket Case poster behind me.
All right.
Which is, no, I can't speak Spanish, but says, Donde te escondares, hermano? I think it's like something crazy brother or something.
All right, awesome. So, all right, let's I'll see us out. So, if you've liked today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We love hearing from you, so why not drop a comment with your own personal rating from 1 to 10 on what you thought Evil Dead 2 was like. That's a wrap for today, so thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. What's in the basket?
We all go a little mad sometimes.